So I didn't particularly want to give this commenter more airtime, but I had to respond to this comment. So it's not. 30% of Californians are receiving federal benefits. Do you think 30% of any population are poor or invalids? Okay, so the 30% number that he's talking about here are the number of Californians who receive Medi-Cal benefits. It's actually a little bit higher. We have a third of the state who receives Medi-Cal benefits, so that's 33%. I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. You ready? I'm holding your hand. We did that on purpose. We did that on purpose because people in California decided that people being uninsured in our state is a problem. And so we sought to solve that problem. They did some studies, they looked into different solutions, and one of the ways they saw to solve the problem of there being uninsured people in California is to expand Medi-Cal to cover all seniors over 65, to cover children under 26. So we're covering young adults, people who are 18, 19, 20. To cover low-income people who don't have kids because, in the federal system, you don't get coverage of any kind unless you have kids. If you are just a low-income adult, they're just like, well, go suffer then. So we're covering those people. And then we have a few special programs around cervical and breast cancer, where if you have cervical or breast cancer, if you have a diagnosis, you can receive care under Medi-Cal. So we expanded the eligibility in California under our state-sponsored medical insurance called Covered California, which we contribute to, and we combined it with the Medi-Cal program, which is a federal program, and we expanded the coverage that people in California could get. And then we aggressively advertised to try and reach the people who needed this help so that they would sign up. So we did that on purpose. The fact that 30% of people in California are covered under Medi-Cal is by design. We did that on purpose. We did that on purpose. And the fact that it's 30% means that the program was a success. We wanted that to happen. We also expanded the program to cover undocumented immigrants in California. We did. Because they're here and they use our medical services, not as often as they should. They don't go into the hospital for preventive care. But if they have an accident, if they are gravely ill, they are using our emergency rooms. So if they have medical coverage, that is better for everyone in the system. It makes coverage, it makes care cheaper for everyone if undocumented immigrants can have preventive medical help. So that's what's going on in California. Let me describe to you the problems with other states not doing this. If your state is not doing this, if your state is not covering people who are poor but don't have kids, who are over 65, who are young adults between the ages of 18 and 26, if you're not covering those people wait to get care. They use emergency rooms disproportionately. That's clogging up the emergency rooms for people who really need emergency services. They have to pay out of pocket when they do need medical care, leaving them with sometimes debilitating and crushing medical debt that they cannot pay back. And having people who can't afford to pay use the most expensive pieces of the medical system, which is the emergency room, makes care more expensive for everyone. It is cheaper to cover everyone than it is to force people into a situation where they are only using the most expensive parts of the system. It does not make sense mathematically to not cover everyone. It is a poor financial decision. Even if it was a good moral position, which it is not. Now let's talk about California in terms of 30% of Californians are receiving federal benefits. This is a widely publicized statistic, but I'm going to put it here anyway. California pays significantly more into the federal government than it receives in federal benefits. Let me say that again. California, the taxpayers of California, pay significantly more into the federal government than they receive in benefits, even with 30% of Californians receiving federal benefits. We in California are the fourth largest economy in the world. Just our state is the fourth largest economy in the world. We have been carrying the United States on our shoulders for the past 40 years. So I think you better keep my state's name out of your mouth.